Hello there, friends of the YouTubes. This is your friend Duhad. I am here just doing a quick update video after finishing this week's Let's Roleplay of Pathfinder, which is going to go up probably tomorrow or something because I totally made a stupid mistake and forgot to upload last week's major Let's Roleplay. So that's going up tonight with this, and then probably I'll put a Pathfinder tomorrow. Anyway, I just want to let you guys know there's a new version of Low Gravity available to patrons. Again, this is, as with every Patreon reward, this is just for $1 a month on Patreon. You get access to the latest version of Low Gravity, which is going to be a campaign on the channel very, very soon. Without further ado, here are the changes to Low Gravity. Major rebalances to cybernetics, slight nerf to, okay, well, they're not all major changes. There's been a slight nerf to the cost of cybernetics, meaning that it costs more money to get them. Subordinates got a slight buff to their stats, so you get a little more bang for your buck out of subordinates. Stability is now linked with grits rather than senses. Frankly, it should have always been that way. I just, for some reason, felt like grits was getting too much attached to it, but honestly, that's what grit's all about. It doesn't really affect a lot of skills, so it's really mostly just about, yeah. So anyway, natural weapons and cybernetic weapons got buffed, just straight up. They do more damage. I felt like they were a little bit lacking compared to some of the other attributes, other qualities. Advanced cybernetics has been made better because, again, there are now a whole bunch of cybernetics in the game that are really good, and so I wanted to make advanced cybernetics feel a little bit more impactful than as a defining quality than just being a small buff. So advanced cybernetics is now really good. Cybernetics reduce the use of psionic powers and psi resistance. This is kind of something I'm borrowing a little bit from Shadowrun, just the idea that the more cybernetics you have, the less able you are to tap into your own natural, like, special powers, and the less you're able to use, resist other people fucking with your brain. I don't want it to come off like I'm doing an I'm doing like a, cybernetics are bad and they're destroying your spirit thing like Shadowrun does, because that isn't really what I want to go for at all. I like cybernetics. I'm a transhumanist. But they just felt like super overpowered, so this was a way of making it a little bit more balanced and to give a little bit more use to psionics, which, while really nice, kind of have the downside that if you're fighting robots, it just completely falls apart. So new additions altogether. The background images you're seeing are two Eluru. They're a new race that was added. This one goes full credit to Belil. She came up with this race. She designed what they looked like. She came up with most of the stuff involving their culture. The version of them in the book is basically just a very light modification to like her initial pitch to me. Pretty much I just cleaned up the language a little bit and made it a little bit more fluffy and added a couple of little changes and stuff. But pretty much these guys 100% Belil's thing, and they're awesome. They're really cool. I really am looking forward to hopefully having an Eluru character in the game, because these were fun. This was a fun race to design, and I actually added an entirely new quality called Enraged that they start with as a drawback that obviously anyone can get. There's obviously a new Luru PC, and I made an Luru NPC, so they're deal with more representation in the character selection stuff. There are now more vehicles. They're like full vehicle rules and more vehicle stuff. Armor's been upgraded. Armor upgrades are now in the game, so you can now upgrade armor in the same way you could upgrade weapons with like bonuses versus melee or ranged attacks, and just a bunch of quite cool stuff like that. There's a short write-up for corporate enforcers and the Maltese Mafia that was added to the general lore setting, lore page. There is now an entirely new section that is secret and only for the GMs or people who don't mind spoiling the game or the universe for them. It's like super duper, like in-depth stuff about like all these different conspiracy theories and all these different like secret plans and all this stuff, like everything that's going on in the background of the setting, like everything that a GM would use to decide what their campaign's going to be about. Because I kind of realize like the game as is, like it's a fun setting. It's, you know, I think the rules and the mechanics and the setting all work well, but like there wasn't as much of a clearly defined thing of what your people would be doing, like besides just general criminal activity. So this is now like a big thing to be like, okay, here's what everyone is plotting. Like here's what all the major players are doing and what their goals are and what they might be doing and how they're going to bounce off each other, and like just like everything's now moving. All the pieces are like acting against each other and stuff. There's a lot more room for campaign hooks there. There are also full write-ups for a number of major major characters in the universe. So Willem Norse, who is obviously a kind of a nod to Strange Bedfellows and to he has like some stuff that's like nodding to Strange Bedfellows, and obviously he's named after the character in Zombie's first character in Nero's game way back when. Yeah, we love Willem Norse. He's kind of a huge fan favorite for us as players. So we always like bring him back in various ways. Revolver from Major 1 has an analog in this. It's not the same Revolver, but there's a character named Revolver who kind of has a lot of similarities to that character. Diego Angelis, who is the head of the corporation that deals with like parasites and stuff, so more information about that and about what he's doing with psionics. Ethan Gibson, who is the head of the new Blue Dwarf Cybernetics Corporation that I added to have like who is working on the actual cybernetics. So he's there. He's part of like a whole plot involving Diego Angelis as well. Captain Sarai, who's the current leader of the Rig Titus, and that ties into some of the Captain Zimmer stuff that was in the book before, that again reference to Strange Bedfellows 2. You know, a lot of tie-ins to a lot of our role-playing games in this setting in this book. You know, this is kind of my love letter to to us and to our fans and to Let's Roleplay in general. You know, I'm hoping it's a good book that'll stand up on its own, but it's also just kind of my way of saying, we've been doing this for years, and I love all of you. I love everyone who supports the channel. I love everyone who's in the channel. You're all just... Anyway, there's also the unit. A little bit of inspiration from the new unit and unit circle from Skull Girls. And finally, full write-ups for the Federation and New Federation, who... It's a lot of secret stuff. I won't go into too much detail there, but basically the two people who run those two organizations now have details, and again, they're a whole lot of plot stuff. So yeah, big update. Not a lot of mechanical changes. I mean, definitely there have been some, but like the majority of this update comes in the form of like 20 pages of lore and plots and just stuff that will make it so that if you're running this game as a GM, you get a lot more idea of the universe and a lot more of an idea of what you can do for campaigns and stuff. So hopefully that'll be fun. Next update, I'm hoping to have finished the last major section, which will be focusing on like big badass characters who you want to be worried about, like assassins and gang leaders and shit, as well as hopefully the entire thing, but probably more like just the start of me going through the entire like 200-page book and just cleaning up and rewriting a bunch of it that is kind of weak, because like there's a lot of like skills and qualities that are basically just like, this skill does this quality does this, and then there's a lot of other ones which are like, this is what this is like, and blah blah blah, and it's kind of fluffy, and but then this is what it does. And I kind of prefer that, you know, like not like super detailed, but just a little bit of fluff, so it doesn't feel like it's 100% just cut and dry. Like this number makes this skill number, you know. And there's a lot of that I want to just touch up a little bit, like add an extra sentence or two to a bunch of skills and qualities. So yeah, that's the update. Enjoy the Alaru, enjoy the Secrets of the Rim. And look forward to role-playing this game out with people here and letting you get to see what's going on. Again, link in the description if you're a $1 a month patron, or if you become one, you get access to this book as well as all the previous major updates if for whatever reason you don't like what I've done to the system since the last patches. And that'll do, Pig. That'll do. Enjoy. Let's roleplay and keep on keeping on. Thank you very much. I love you.